Jessica! Open up! I'm standing outside Mom and Dad's house. Let me in. I forgot to bring my key with me.
Why are you outside? Are you moving back in with Mom and Dad again?
No, I just had another fight with Jimmy again. I thought I'd come see Mom and Dad while I give him a chance to cool off is all. I promise I won't stay too long.
Fine, I guess, as long as you agree to pay for some food.
Yeah, okay, whatever, sis.
What is it this time?
I'm just so burnt out. All the cooking and cleaning. And the kids. Ugh, it's just too much. So I just had to get out of there for a while.
So you ran back here?
Yep, exactly. So let me in. I know you're in there. I see your car in the driveway. And I know you're not at work since you started that work-from-home job last year.
I'm actually not at home right now. I have a meeting I have to go to and my coworker is driving me. Are Mom and Dad not at home? When I left, they were still there. And as far as I know, neither of them have plans today.
I'm pretty sure Mom and Dad went out shopping. Their car's not here from what I can tell. I guess I'll just have to go wait at the cafe at the end of the block until someone gets home.
Wait, before you get too comfortable. How long are you planning on staying this time around? Hopefully you're not going to be staying more than a few days this time.
I don't know how long I'm gonna stay. It depends on how fast Jimmy and I make up. Or, well, how fast he apologizes to me.
That's not gonna cut it, Terry. Sorry, but I can't have you hanging around in my house forever like you did last time. You can sleep in the living room tonight if you really want to stay. But we don't really have the room for you anymore with the kids.
I'm not sleeping in the living room. I'll just sleep in your room like I always do. It was my room at one point after all. You should give it back to me if I'm going to be staying here anyway.
This is not your house anymore. Now that I own it, I get to decide who goes where. And anyway, I'm working from home. I can't have you hanging around in my bedroom all day bothering me while I work.
Are you really not going to let me stay in my own childhood home? I promise I won't be that much of a bother.
I'm not sure I believe you. You've definitely broken that promise before. And anyway, at this point, it's more my house than it is yours. I'm not sure if you remember, but me and Eric own it now. Mom and Dad are only living here for a little while until their place down the road is finished. And while they're here, we don't really have space for you anymore. You can't just come barging in and expect us to have a place ready for you anymore. At least try to be considerate of the rest of us for once in your life.
What exactly do you want me to do to be considerate? I brought you some presents if that makes it any better.
It does not. Look, you can stay for a week if you want, but you have to chip in on meals. And you cannot stay in my room. There's nowhere for you to sleep in there anyway. You can sleep on the couch, but that's the best I can do. And before you ask, no, I am not going to lend you any money. I know for a fact that Jimmy makes plenty, and I'm sure you have some saved up from working part-time anyway. So don't come crying to me about how broke you are.
Are you serious right now?
Yes, I am dead serious. You can stay for 1 week. No more than that. So you better start patching things up with Jimmy before your time runs out. And this time, you can't just order a bunch of delivery and expect me to pay for it. You need to pay for your own stuff. You still owe me $500 from the last time you stayed here.
Fine, I'll pay for everything. Stop treating me like a child. I don't even want to live with you anyway. You're worse than Mom and Dad. You always scold me and boss me around. And you're so obsessed with money. I know you all make way more than you need. I can't believe you'd be so stingy with your own flesh and blood. And who are you to accuse me of being a freeloader anyways? You're living with Mom and Dad. I bet you're leeching off them. You're totally projecting.
I'm not leeching off anyone. You're the one being the leech.
Even if you're not taking their money, I know for a fact that Mom cooks and cleans and does the laundry. All you do is sit around all day and laze about like a queen while Mom waits on you hand and foot. At the very least, you can give me some money to make up for all the pampering I'm missing out on. Think of it as evening the playing field.
I am absolutely not doing that. I help with the chores and I cook more than Mom does. She just wants to help out to feel like she's doing something. And she's so bored now that she's retired anyway. I don't think I could stop her doing it even if I tried. Once again, you don't know what you're talking about.
And once again, you're just trying to turn it around on me. You're taking advantage of a poor old woman and making her do grueling housework. It's horrible, honestly.
Whatever you say.
Here we go again with that condescending attitude.
Maybe if you actually pulled your weight a bit, I might not have this attitude.
Do you know how hard it is to be married to Jimmy? Every time we have a fight, he gets so unreasonable and mad I have no choice but to leave. You just don't get it at all. You think you're so good with your perfect husband and perfect life.
You're being really unfair, Terry.
Whatever. Just come home as soon as your meeting is over so you can let me in. I need to unpack. I have somewhere I have to be tonight.
Where are you even going?
Oh, just out.
You're not going clubbing again, are you?
What's it to you?
Never mind. I don't know why I bother asking. I'll be home in a few hours. Hey, honey. Just wanted to let you know I saw your sister and let her in. I stopped by the cafe on my way home and happened across her. She said you had agreed to let her stay the night again. So don't worry about rushing home to get her or anything.
Thanks, dear. My meeting was running late, so I'm glad you were able to intercept her before she got mad at me for keeping her waiting. I'm sorry about not telling you about her earlier. She messaged me about this as I was going into the meeting, and I didn't have time to tell anyone.
It's fine. Did she and Jimmy have another fight?
Yeah, same old, same old.
Also, maybe we should eat in tonight. I know you were thinking about going out, but, well, your sister is already stinking drunk.
What? How did she get drunk already? I thought she was at the cafe down the street.
Oh, well, she was, but she apparently brought a six-pack with her from home. And she's been powering through them since I got back. She's on beer number 4 already. She says she's still mad about the fight and is trying to forget about it. She's been complaining about him non-stop, though, so I don't think it's working. I'm really getting an earful.
I'm really sorry, Eric. I'm so sorry that you had to come home to this mess. I'm not really looking forward to having to deal with her now that I'm working from home. She's gonna be a huge distraction. And she's gonna have to sleep in the living room, which means she'll be in everyone's way. Hopefully we can get her and Jimmy on speaking terms soon so we don't have to deal with her for too long.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm really sorry she's already drunk and rowdy.
No, it's fine. I probably should have expected she'd do this and stopped her before it got too bad. It's not like this is new behavior.
That's for sure. Did she say anything to you about how long she's planning on staying? I told her she could only stay a week, but you know how she is.
Well, she said she might stay for a month.
What? A month? I told her a week!
Well, it sounds like this time the fight with Jimmy was really bad. Like, divorce bad. We might not have much choice but to deal with her.
This is such a mess.
I really am sorry, honey.
No, it's not your fault. You didn't know. We'll just have to figure it out. Have you talked to my parents yet?
A little bit. Your mom seemed a little annoyed to see her back again. Terry seems to be acting like she's done with Jimmy, which I'm sure in her mind means divorce. And you know how your mom feels about that.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good sign.
She was going on and on about how she wants to break free from him and live her life for real after 10 years with him messing everything up.
This is such a disaster.
Yeah, it's not great. Though, this is probably not the best time to bring this up, but I've been thinking that it might be time for us to move. What? Really? Why? We just bought the house off my parents like a year ago. Well, I just got a call from work. They're thinking about making my job 100% work from home. And I'd only have to go in every so often for meetings. Which made me think that maybe we could find someplace bigger where we'd both be comfortable working from home. And maybe somewhere a bit farther out. Really? That actually is good news overall. And I guess it wouldn't be so bad to live somewhere a bit outside the city. I know you've always said you want to live near the ocean. So I thought maybe this would be the time to do it. The kids are still young, and while your parents are building a new house, we'd still only be like 20 minutes from them if we moved just outside of town. They might be a little disappointed, but I think they'd understand. Mom would probably be jealous, if anything. She loves the beach. I'll have to think about this a bit, but it's pretty tempting, I have to admit. Well, don't worry about it too much now. I'll go pick up some dinner so you don't have to worry about cooking. Thanks, Eric. I'll be home soon. Hey, Terry, did you do something with my laptop? Huh? Why are you asking me? I don't know anything about it. And I'm out with friends right now anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. I just found it out by the doghouse for some reason. It's not damaged or anything. It just seemed strange. And I asked Mom and Dad, and none of them touched it. Maybe it was one of the kids? Maybe, but I've had my eye on them all day and none of them were even near it. Are you accusing me of something? I didn't try to ruin your laptop or anything, if that's what you're saying. I just needed to look something up on it, and I was in the backyard for a minute, and I guess I forgot. You were in the doghouse? Why? I don't know. I guess I thought it looked cozy or something. Were you drunk? Why do you care? Whatever. Anyway, please be more careful. And ask me before you use my stuff. Especially my laptop. I need it for work. So if it ends up breaking, I'm gonna be in a bind. Whatever. I told you I wasn't trying to break it. And it's in my room anyway. So I should be able to use it. What are you, 5? It's my laptop. And it's my work laptop at that. Have some respect, please. Why don't you have respect for me? You're making me sleep on the couch like a dog. I'm like a stranger in my own house. My legs and hips and neck and back hurt all the time because I have to sleep on that lumpy monster you call a sofa. I'm so done with it. I'm taking back what's mine. And that room belongs to me. You know, I get it. I'd be uncomfortable too. And if things were different, we'd have a bed for you to sleep in. But we don't. And none of that gives you the right to mess with my stuff. Especially stuff I need for work. Well, that's why I put it in the doghouse. Because I didn't want it in my room since it's not mine. It's my room, so I don't want your stuff in it. Are you really trying to kick me out of my own house? Trying to make me sleep in the doghouse? Well, like you said, there aren't any other rooms. So yeah, that's your room now. You're being totally ridiculous. Maybe you can use your laptop as a pillow. I know the ground out there is hard, but I'm sure you'll figure something out. It's the perfect place for a parasite like you. Out in the yard with all the bugs. What did you call me? I'll be taking my room back when I get home. Make sure it's cleaned out. And if it's not by the time I'm back, I'll clean it out myself. You have no right. I'll do whatever I want. It's my room, it's my house. If you want out, you'll leave. You know what? I will leave. Really? I thought you'd put up a little bit more of a fight. Did you really fold that easily? No, I'm just sick of dealing with this attitude of yours. I'm done with getting mad at you. It just makes you harder to deal with. There's no reason to keep fighting with you about this. So, what are you going to do? We're gonna move. What?
Really? You're not being serious. This is a joke, right?
No joke here. We're moving today, in fact.
How? Are you staying in a hotel or did you just magically find a house?
No, we've been thinking about doing this for a while now. Eric's job is entirely remote now, so we don't have to live close to the office anymore. So we decided to move.
Well, then it's a win-win. You get to go somewhere else, and I'll have the house all to myself to do with as I see fit. And you won't bother me anymore.
I wouldn't get comfortable just yet. I spoke with Mom and Dad about our arrangement. I found out about your little arrangement with them. Don't think I didn't know that Mom was giving you money.
What? I can't believe she told you.
But it sounds like you broke the terms of your agreement. And that you should have been out of the house by now. They seemed a little bit disappointed by the entire thing. So they decided it was time you learned to live on your own. So to put it simply, they're cutting you off. It's a shame, too. It sounds like they were planning on giving you quite a bit of money if you actually stuck with your agreement. I know that Mom feels bad about your situation with Jimmy. But you being here and in our hair the entire time has made her reconsider. And I bet your attitude hasn't really helped either.
What? Were they really gonna help me?
Well, Mom wanted to, at least. But after all this, Dad decided that it wasn't worth it. And thought that if you wanted to divorce Jimmy and live on your own, you'd need to find yourself a job and earn your way. They had actually been saving up money to give to you, but decided at the last minute to use it for something else instead. They said you'd just waste it.
What? I can't believe them!
Maybe if you had pulled your weight even a little bit, they might have changed their minds. Now I think they're going to spend it on a vacation or something. Which, frankly, I think they deserve after putting up with you for so long. I can't believe you wouldn't even help Mom with the dishes or cleaning or anything. It's not like you have a job that keeps you busy or takes up your time.
Did they really take all that money and spend it on themselves?
It was their money in the first place. They were being kind by even considering giving it to you. They live on a fixed income now that they've retired. They need it way more than you do.
They have tons of money!
They most certainly do not. Part of why we bought the house from them in the first place is so we could give them a bit of a cash injection. And they moved to a smaller place because they were struggling to afford to live here. They don't need to be giving money to their layabout daughter to spend on handbags and drinking with her friends.
So what am I supposed to do? Do you really expect me to go back to Jimmy and the kids and act like nothing ever happened? I don't have anywhere else to go.
So you're not divorcing him after all?
The jury's still out on that.
Well, they better get back in. Because you're going to have to decide if you want to live with him and put up with whatever it is that bothers you about him. Or you're going to have to move out and get a job. Because you can't stay here any longer. I really don't know what the two of you fought about, but I'd hope for your sake you'd have resolved it by now. Not to mention, you've barely seen your own children in a month. You should at least go back for your kids. Or did something happen that's keeping you from going back? It does seem a little strange that you've barely seen your kids since this all happened. And your stories never seem to quite add up. What actually happened, Terry?
What? It was nothing! He got out of control again. He was crying and screaming.
If he really was that out of control, don't you think it's pretty irresponsible to leave your kids with him?
They're fine. He's a good dad.
Uh-huh. Well, whatever. As long as the kids are safe, I don't really care what happens. You can fight it out with your husband all you want. But you gotta do it at your house. You can't stay here.
Wait a minute. I can't go back there. There's no way he'll let me come back. Why are you kicking me out?
You'll have to talk to Mom and Dad if you want to know more. I have somewhere I have to be. Bye. Are you ready yet? I think we should probably get going as soon as we can. Your sister is on a rampage, and I'm afraid she's gonna start breaking stuff if we don't get out now. I already cleared out most of our furniture, and what's left is mostly just stuff your parents were planning on throwing out. But if there's anything left you want, tell me now so it doesn't get busted up by Terry.
What's the deal with Terry? Did something happen?
I'm not exactly sure. All I can gather is that she talked with her husband again. Seems like they're getting divorced after all. She asked if she could stay in the house longer, and I told her no. And then she went to your parents, but they just said the same thing.
And now she's losing it?
Something like that, yeah. Apparently, everything that happened with Jimmy was all her fault. Both this time and before. It sounds like Jimmy is actually totally innocent. I still don't know the details, but whatever she did seems bad enough to justify Jimmy kicking her out.
I can't say any of this is very surprising. Do you at least have some idea of what happened?
Well, I know some of it, since she had him on speaker and was screaming at the top of her lungs. Apparently, she's basically just stopped doing anything. She doesn't work or do anything around the house or even really pay much attention to the kids. And Jimmy works crazy hours and then gets home and has to feed and bathe the kids, along with everything else. So he decided he was done and he kicked her out. And I guess he's decided that they're gonna get divorced. Which at this point sounds like a good idea. But it explains why they always fought.
Well, that sounds right. Horrible, but right. Terry would definitely lie about her being the one who wanted the divorce.
She even asked him if he would take her back. But apparently he doesn't want to see her again. Said she'd be out all night at least 3 days a week. And then come home stinking drunk.
Sounds like Terry.
So yeah, I think it's really over this time. It was a really nasty fight. But Jimmy is pretty justified in being mad.
I'll say. He probably should have ended it ages ago. It doesn't sound like any of this is new behavior. Anyway, she'll be out of our hair soon. I already told her we're moving out. And I basically told her she has to leave the house soon. It sounds like she already went crying to Mom and Dad, which means that I'm sure they told her that they'll be taking ownership back of the house when we leave, and that they'll be selling it as soon as they can.
Well, that all works out nicely then. In fact, the timing couldn't be better. Oh, it sounds like Terry just left. I heard the door slam. Okay, I'm gonna try to get everything else arranged and get your parents over here to clear out the last of their stuff.
Sounds good. I'll be back in a bit to help you out with anything I can.
Great. See you in a minute.
You gotta do something, Jessica! I'm in a real bind!
What is it this time?
Jimmy served me divorce papers!
Not sure what the problem is. Sounds like you should just sign them and get it over with.
I'm not gonna do that! He can't divorce me and leave me out in the cold like this!
You know, Terry, it might actually be a good thing. You clearly don't care about your husband and your kids. So if you get divorced, you'll be rid of them once and for all. Think of it as a new start.
What am I supposed to do? He's gonna leave me with nothing! I don't have money, a job, a house, anything!
Well, you can find all those things, but you have to actually work for it. No one is just going to hand them to you on a silver platter. I'm sure you can do it if you actually, applied yourself for once.
Ugh! I hate working! I'm not gonna be able to go out and see my friends!
That's what being an adult is.
Please help me, Jessica. I don't want to be poor and working.
You're just gonna have to suck it up. You can't leech off other people forever. And frankly, it's kind of embarrassing that you managed to do it for this long. I really should have cut you off sooner.
I'm sorry for taking advantage of your kindness. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Well, you didn't seem to care that much until all this happened. So I'm not sure how much of this is actually genuine.
I really mean it. I'll change. I promise.
Will you, though? Somehow I doubt it.
Please just let me stay with you for a little while longer. I'll find a job. I'll do something productive. I'll move out the second I can find a place to stay.
We can't let you stay. We don't have any space. We don't even have a couch for you to sleep on.
Then what about Mom and Dad? They were mad before, but maybe you can convince them to help me?
I'm not sure I can. They seemed pretty happy to let you figure it out on your own. You might be able to convince Mom to help you, but Dad is a lost cause as far as I'm concerned.
What am I gonna do? I can't afford to get divorced. And if Jimmy gets the kids, I'll have to pay child support too.
I have no answers for you, other than maybe start looking for a job. I know that the fast food places are hiring quite a bit now. They've even started paying decently well. But the work sucks.
Are you telling me I'm gonna have to flip burgers?
Well, you don't have a degree or any work experience. Unfortunately, your options are pretty limited.
Are you really gonna let this happen to me? I'm your family!
My family are Mom and Dad and Eric and my kids. As far as I'm concerned, you're just some weird stranger who hung around in my house yelling at me. You haven't treated me like family in years. You just treated me like a walking ADM. And hotelier.
Have a heart, Jessica!
I would if you had one first. And it's not like this is some big tragedy that just happened to happen to you. You did all of this yourself. This is all your fault, and now you have to face the consequences of your actions. I'd have a little more pity if you were actually the victim of any of this. But you really just brought this all on yourself. So I'm not sure what else to say. Other than, good luck, sis. The next few months were tough for Terry. With nowhere to go, Terry was forced to couch surf. But running out of money and unwilling to get a job, she ended up bouncing around between a few friends, ruining each friendship as she did. With only a bit of money left and her goodwill mostly gone, she was forced to take the only job she could find, working the register at a burger joint. The money was decent, but the hours were long and the customers were rude and demanding. She struggled to keep up with it, but managed to get herself back on her feet long enough to at least rent a shoddy apartment and not go too far into the hole. Although we haven't spoken since she left, the last I heard, she's toiling away under the heat lamps, living her miserable little life. As for me, Eric and I have been living in our new beachside house for the past few months and loving it. Our boys are adjusting to our new aquatic life quite nicely, as are we. It's almost like living in paradise, but it's only a few minutes away from the city. The best of both worlds, as they say. My parents seem quite happy too. With the money they got from selling the old house, they were able to take a long, relaxing cruise away from their daughters and focus on them for a bit. Overall, Terry was right. It was a win-win, but not for her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to see more.